going to show you how to use the multimedia system at MCCLA. When I say multimedia system, I'm talking about turning on the sound system, turning on the stage lights, turning on the TVs, so whatever you're doing with PowerPoint or with video, you can see it on all the TVs, and the people up front can also see it on their TV. And I'm even going to show you how to engage the TriCaster, which is the thing that operates the cameras, so that it's capable of sending out a broadcast signal, just in case you want to do that as well. So first of all, what you're going to do is you're going to come into this room when you get into the sanctuary, and you'll see a big black box here and a soundboard over here. But what you need to do to get it all started is to go over to this key lock box, and the combination is if you got all those pushed in right, that's the combination, and you push both of those down at the same time and pull out. Voila! So that key's going to go in here. If you put it in the wrong way, it won't turn, so just pull it out and try again. Yeah, it turned. It turns to the left. Pull it open, and once again, pull both of them down. Put the bottom in first while you're still holding both of those black buttons down. Drop it in there. After you open this, the first thing you need to do is reach back here or walk back here. There is one power strip back here. At the very top of it, pull this. There's a little teeny button in there. Also, just make sure you pull it in such a way that it goes on. Don't do anything yet. We're going to actually go over here, but you want to just unlatch these two latches and open up these doors. What involves you is probably not almost anything here except for this button right here. This is the main power button. It's on top on the right side on the left. Let's turn that on first. If you see lights on the board, then you're good to go as far as the board goes. But if you don't see lights, little lights here and there, then you have to also push this button. The reason why I'm showing you this is because different people shut the system down differently. Some people turn this off, some people don't. So you probably need to come down here and turn this bottom power button. This is the power unit that turns on the soundboard. One of the things we usually have to do down here is turn on the PC. This is a Windows PC. It's used for two things. Running PowerPoint or videos, if you have little videos that, if you hear that little beeping sound, it's because the keyboard of the computer got stuck under the board. That happens every time. You expect that. When you hear that annoying beep, 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 just pull that keyboard out. We use that for PowerPoint. We use that sometimes for our movie videos, like QuickTime movie videos, but mostly for PowerPoint. You'll see MCCLA. There's no password. You just need to click on that to get into the computer. So while that's booting up, if you brought with you a PowerPoint file that you made someplace else, or you have a QuickTime movie file or something that you need to play on the big screens, you want to put that in at this point into the two USB ports. Either one of those is fine, and that'll come up in my computer, or else it'll say, you know, what do you want to do? Do you want to open this? Yeah, open this. On Sundays, if you're setting up for Sundays, we always put all of our PowerPoint files each week in this folder here called Current Service. So usually, if I did have a USB disk, a memory stick in there, I would be able to access that, drag the files in there, so they'll be available on the service. And usually, you know, just as a caveat here, I would put the last week's files, I would grab those, and I would drag them into the 2011 archives at this point. It'll be 2012 archives by the time you probably see this video. And I put the new files in there. If you're doing something, setting up something for your own event, you might want to just make a folder for yourself, so you could put your files there. I'm going to open up a PowerPoint file because that's pretty important to know. Once you open up any PowerPoint file, there's a little wine glass down here. That's what I like to call it. You click on that to open that full screen. And then we have these wonderful, convenient remote controls, how we operate PowerPoint around here. They have an on button. I want to click those on, unless somebody left it on, as the case was just now. And then this is nice. Fast forward to the next slide. And if you go too far, then you just go back one. And that's how you operate PowerPoint. These are wonderful. You could actually have two people teaming up with the PowerPoint. One up there, one back here. Both remote controls work beautifully. But you want it more than just on that computer screen, so I'm going to show you how to get it on all the monitors. But before we do that, let's move on to setting up the sound. The first thing we want to do, besides turning the computer on and turning the board on, now we're going to go over to this big black booth here. This is called the TriCaster booth because in the heart of it all is this little box down here, which is basically a computer that has a lot of features that have to do with video. And on all of this stuff, you don't need to worry about any of it except one little button is hiding down here on the bottom left-hand corner. That's the power button that turns on the TriCaster. You can't do anything around here without turning the TriCaster on, even if you're not interested in video or using the robot cameras that we have. If all you want to do is show a PowerPoint slide, you still got to turn on the TriCaster. While you're down here, you might want to take the opportunity to turn on the power amp, this bottom power amp, and also checking to make sure both of these volumes are all the way up. That's very important because some people like to turn them all the way down when they turn the system off. So you want to check to make sure those are all the way up. Good, now that you've turned on the TriCaster and the amp, you're going to want to turn on this monitor. This is called a Dynex monitor. Why does that concern you? Because up above you're going to have 5 remote controls. All of them are going to be very important to you. Hopefully, if people put them away in order, it's nice when they do. The first one on the left is going to be the Dynex remote. If it's not, you just got to fish around all these remotes until you find the one that says Dynex. You need the Dynex to turn on the monitor so you can see what's going on with the TriCaster. The little red button will power that up. Okay, so after you press enter to complete the process of the windows turning into a TriCaster in terms of turning on, you want to pull the shelf just beneath the keyboard out a little bit so you have access to this mouse. This mouse is going to be necessary. It might be necessary depending on what you're doing. But most importantly, you need to know if you want to see PowerPoint on the screens up there, you're going to have to push the 4 button. Take a look at this special keyboard. This is the keyboard that controls the TriCaster. If you want to see PowerPoint on the television screens, you're going to need to push the 4 button on the middle row. See, there's 3 rows? This is called the live bus. What that means is this is what's actually going to go out to our televisions in the sanctuary, and if we happen to be broadcasting over the internet, this is what's going to show outside. Now, 4 is what we do for full PowerPoint. But if we're running the cameras and the PowerPoint, we use 5. If we're using 5, that means we have to use these buttons in conjunction with it. I know that's confusing, but usually the case in our church, at least on Sundays, we're going to be running 5, which allows the cameras to work with the PowerPoint. And camera 1, 2, 3 are all going to be, and there's also a 4th camera, are all going to be triggered by pushing these buttons. So you have PowerPoint happening constantly, and you happen also to have the cameras. Camera 1, that's how we make camera 1 work. If you're not using PowerPoint and camera, and you're just using cameras, that's much easier. You could just use the cameras right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3 are the first 3 cameras, which are all in the sanctuary, and the 4th camera is, you think it would be number 4, but it's not. It's number 6. That turns on the cameras, and this doesn't matter anymore. If that stays lit, it doesn't matter because you're going live right through 1, 2, 3, 4. In the case that you want to play a DVD, that's number 6. I'm going to quickly show you that too. Just in case you do need to use a DVD to play a DVD, First of all, you need to know that the DVD that you want to play is going to be down here underneath the soundboard. There's a Sony DVD player. To open it is the first button to the right of this black screen. That's how you're going to open it to get it in and out. Get your DVD in there, or your CD that you're going to play CD audio. That's how we do it on this machine. So once you put your CD audio or your DVD, you're going to put that in there. And then there's the play button. And there's also a remote control for that somewhere around here. That's a Sony remote. It's lying somewhere on top of that machine. But back to here. Let's look at that. We've turned on the TriCaster. We've turned on the monitor with the Dynex remote. Now we're going to do something else. We're going to run around with this big remote. This big gray remote is the thing we use to turn on all the robot cameras. You want to turn on the cameras by pushing first one of these three buttons here. This is camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. 1, 2, 3. First you push 1, and then you point it at that camera. If you're looking at the entrance doors to the sanctuary and the exit sign, it's the camera on the right that's up in the ceiling. That's camera 1. I push 1, and you'll see it do a little dance. And if you're crazy like me, you'll say, "Wake up, my little children." If you do this too often, you have to do things to entertain yourself. There's number 2. Push 2, press power. It does a little dance. If it doesn't do a little dance, then you probably pushed the wrong button. But that shouldn't happen to you. Okay? I'm going to push number 3, and I'm going to aim it at our third camera. You don't have to climb up on stage to do this. And see how it does a little dance. That one does a more interesting dance. That one really boogies. There it goes. That's camera 3. It does that, and it positions itself to where it was last looking. At this point, it's looking at the choir. So this is a fabulous thing. These robot cameras will do whatever you want them to do. They'll move around. Most people don't even know it's happening. Great. Now that you've turned on the 3 cameras out in the sanctuary, camera 1 and 2 back here, camera 3 up on stage by pushing 1 and the power 2 and the power, aiming it at that camera after you push its designated number. There is a 4th camera, and there's only 3 numbers on this remote, but this is the same remote that does it. You just have to push 3, because 3 works for this 4th camera also. And that is this camera that's hiding up here on top of the TriCaster booth. That camera is usually used in our MCCLA worship services for the person who's doing sign language. It does a nice dance too. You know a camera is on also, not just by the dance that it does. You're going to need to know this because when you're all done, you're going to have to turn things off. There's a little green light there that indicates it's on. When any of these robot cameras are off, which is the last thing you're going to do, or one of the last things you're going to do, it's going to be a red light. So thank you for checking all 4 cameras, including this one up here. Everybody forgets the number 4. They don't like to be turned on all week long. It minimizes their lifespan. Let's look at these 2 TV remotes. Why are they important? Because it's time to turn on all the TVs. The larger of these 2 TV remotes is the Panasonic remote. They control the 2 front TVs. You can't stand back there and do it. You have to walk up to them. You walk up to each one and push the power button. Now we have another remote. This controls the other 3 TVs in the sanctuary. There's a TV hiding up in the rafters, and that is for all the people that are on stage, so they can see what's going on. Okay, now you've turned on the 2 front TVs, and now you've switched over from the Panasonic remote to the LG remote, and you've turned on the one that's way up in the rafters, which is for the people up front. And still with the LG remote, you want to turn on the last 2 TV monitors. You want to get right up in front of the TV and aim it up there. Great, you're doing very good. Now everybody can see what's going on, what you're doing back in the booth.